collected a number of questions for Mr. Holley. Timer, are you ready?
Yes.
What would you do as congressman to make sure that our veterans are able to get jobs when they return home from combat?
That's a great thing. Recently, the state closed a number of veterans offices, facilities that actually help veterans out, citing budget problems, okay, which is one thing that we have to undo. So that's, one thing. We got to make sure that our veterans have the proper facility, have the right care and everything that they need, because they have served our country. They have given their all, and now it's time for our country to serve them. Okay? So we've got to find the funds in our budget to keep those veterans offices open, because they provide so much for our people. I've always thought that Republicans are good for starting wars and for starting fights. But when it comes to taking care of our veterans, making sure that they have what they need, including physical needs, psychological needs, emotional needs, there are so many needs. So many of our veterans are suffering right now because they've been to Iraq, and so forth. And they need help in several different ways. So our government, federal government, and state government are going to have to really put our veterans on a much higher priority than where they are now. So we've got to find the funds. We have to get those veteran facilities reopened. That's one thing. Second thing is we've got to make sure that they have the proper psychological care. So much of war, so much of serving, takes a drain on our people. How many of you have someone who served in the military or know a veteran? Okay. So we've got to make sure that they have the proper psychological help. That's number two. And then number three, we've got to help them to get jobs once they come back. We've got to make sure that they are a priority when it comes to hiring. So we've got to help companies to have programs that say, okay, we're going to hire, 5 or 6 veterans for, in the next month, or, so forth. Okay, so we've got to really help them to get jobs. But we also have to help them get educated too. My time is up. So we got to help them in terms of education. So what that means is we've got to develop some special programs, maybe in some colleges and so forth, just for veterans. Okay? All right.
As a representative in the House, what is the most important issue you hope to address?
Number one issue, if I am elected, that I will address is stopping the job losses that are coming in 2013, stopping sequestration. I think it has to be number one on everybody's plate. If we don't stop that, in January of next year is when it all starts. And even though it may start on the arsenal, there are a whole lot of people, I know there are a whole lot of people who live here, who work out there. But it's not just arsenal jobs. It's going to be private jobs too, because so many private companies work off of Redstone Arsenal. They are there because of Redstone. So we've got to stop those job losses. That would be my number one priority. We've got to stop those huge job losses that are coming.
This next question has been partially addressed, but maybe you can expand a little more.
Okay.
Please speak to the possible sequestration of Department of Defense funds and the resulting possible effects on the economy in Athens and Huntsville.
I've got a little sheet of paper right here. Matter of fact, I meant to pass this out to you. Has all of the stuff that could happen upon it. Possible affects nationwide. Listen, nationwide. This is nationwide. 2 million jobs lost nationwide. 215 billion lost from our GDP. 1.5% added to our unemployment rate. You know, these are effects nationwide. When you come down to Huntsville, Athens, it says 29.4% of total income in Madison County is generated by our defense sector. The losses in this income are spread across all service sectors in this county. In the district, if sequestration takes place. Now listen, defense spending is directly or indirectly responsible for generating 40 cents on each dollar. Wow, that's a lot, isn't it? That's almost half. Almost half of every dollar is generated by defense spending. The projected 7.5% cut in the spending means a loss of 3%, direct loss of personal income for every citizen. So you could lose 3% of your income. Now, how many of us can afford? I can't afford to lose any of mine. Matter of fact, I need some more. Anybody out there need some more? And to lose that amount of money, you know, especially when things are going up, prices are going up, it's tough. It's tough. As you can see, this and many more things. We can give you this handout for this one. But it is very serious, folks. This is exactly why we need someone in Congress who can cooperate, who can come to the table, and who can bring a deal, and who can stop the sequestration from happening. We don't have the people in there right now. They can't do it, folks. They can't do it. They won't do it. This is serious.